Alright, so we're going to take a little video here. The car's been sitting for probably 4 to 5 weeks without being started here in the garage. So we'll see how it starts. It usually starts pretty well on a cold start. It may take a couple tries just because it's been so long. But usually if it's been a week or so, usually first turn and fire over it usually runs okay. Since I have the air fuel controller, it's going to make it stumble a bit when it's cold, just until the oxygen sensor heats up, which takes it about 30 to 45 seconds, maybe a minute when it's stone cold like this. So let's see how it does, and then we'll take it for a ride. So I just kind of feather the throttle a little bit to kind of keep it rolling when it's, let's try it one more time. You usually have to feather the throttle just to kind of that first 30-45 seconds when it's so dead cold. See? Oop. So let's see, let's try this one more time. So you can see the oxygen sensors on HTR, which is heater, which means it's heating up the oxygen sensor. So, like I say, usually if it's only been a week or so, then usually I can kind of keep it running right off. Let's see here. Now the oxygen sensor's coming in and it's still running a little bit lean. Let it warm up for a sec. The increased idle is mainly because I'm just holding a little bit of gas down, manually. So let's see how it does if it comes off of. So there we go. There's foot off the throttle. Running, about 14 or so. I have it running here on the rich side generally at idle. So once it warms up a little bit more, it'll kind of keep about 1,000 RPMs. Usually when I drive it so infrequently, I like to let it warm up, to an appropriate level. I don't like to drive it stone cold, just with the turbo and warming the oil up a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and strap this phone to the headrest and we'll go for a little ride. So excuse my mediocre video skills, but I'm here by myself, so let's see what we can do. Check and see what's next to the car here. Got so much crap piled up in here. meth injection, I use windshield washer solvent. So it's just one of those jugs that goes underneath. Please bear in mind too, I'm driving in flip-flops, so my foot control's a little off. I'm gonna roll this window up so it's not so much wind noise. Be able to see the boost gauge right here, so top center is 0, so anything above straight up is on boost, and you should be able to see the AFR gauge too, hopefully. So right now it's running, you know, low 14s ish generally, which is right on. Under boosted should keep in the 12s to low 13s at the most. Driving easily off boost, it's very, very conservative, very reserved. It'll cruise all day off boost, you know, just running around town like it's just a stock car. Like to downshift because I like to hear the gurgle of the exhaust come in. I love that MagnaFlow muffler, or sorry, not MagnaFlow, Flowmaster. So it's sitting at idle at about 1100 right now, which is where it usually sits. Everything works on the car as far as the turn signals, headlights, taillights, you know, all that stuff, horn. I was even able to source the right signal return cancellation thing for the back of the steering wheel, which these are notorious for breaking on these Intellivolti wheels because it's a real small tab that's plastic. So I was able to find a VW OEM equivalent that they actually use from them on the hubs to have cancel return work again, which is great. So I'll kind of roll on the boost. I'm in third gear here. Kind of third into fourth run. Definitely got some juice to it. Not too loud. Driver's window's open, so the wastegate, what you heard, is the loudest it normally is from inside the car. Just sounds more like not like an open exhaust, but just more like a whoosh on this car, not like some cars where it just sounds like you cut the exhaust pipe off. But around town, you know, off boost, as you can tell, there's no wastegate action at all, so you don't hear that blow by basically. Get out to a little stretch here in about a mile where we can kind of run it a little bit harder up through the gears. kind of see what it'll really do. It's not too hot this morning. It's running about 78 degrees outside, but with the aluminum radiator, lower temp fan switch, and lower temp thermostat, and also with the oil cooler, I've never had any issues with running hot ever since I put that in. Even on the hottest days and running it kind of hard, I try not to abuse it when it's too hot out, but with the meth injection and the intercooler, and the lower temp radiator and stuff, it really does fine in any kind of heat. Also, as far as the clutch, I'm not the type to rip first gear. I always like to roll into my power just because I don't feel like replacing transmissions and axles all the time. You know, which, you know, the O2O is not known for being the strongest transmission in the world, so rather than like burning tire and just ripping stuff up, you know, I just enjoy more the roll-on and easy power. That's kind of more what this car is all about. You know, kind of sneaking up on people and surprising them and zipping by them, you know, and kind of mid-speed cruise or out on the highway and all of a sudden getting into it, just rolling on by. Here I'm at about 3,000 RPMs in fourth gear, so if I shift down to third and give a little boost, run it up to about 6,000 in third gear. Nice little punch. Coming into a little bit of highway space here, so let's see what we can get into. Again, third gear, about 4,000 RPMs. Up to about 75 or 80 miles an hour right there. I'm going to pull off and give it a little run around the loop here. See if I can find a little bit of open road to kind of run it from lower gears on up. Then coming up to idle, it's perfectly happy, just setting at 1,000 RPMs. It'll sit at a grand all day long at idle. No issues with heat or anything like that. You know, like I say, off boost, it's basically like a normal car. So even after running it a little hard through that, you know, it's sitting right in the center on the temp gauge, which is actually low for these cars. They tend to run a little bit on the hot side anyway. Oil temp is running about 70 degrees Celsius, which is actually on the cool side also. It's running the thermostatic plate in there, so it does let it warm up a little bit, so it's not constantly cooling when it's cold. Especially in the wintertime, you don't want that, but maybe down, if you're warm down in Florida or something like that where it never gets cold, it won't be an issue. But in the wintertime up here, you know, when there's snow on the ground, you don't want your oil to be like ice cold all the time.